Hello and welcome back to Crafted by Corie. If you're new, I'm Corie. Welcome to my channel. If you're returning, thank you as always. Today is the minis challenge. More about that in just a little bit, but let's go ahead and get right on into the crafting. DIY number one. I have a Dollar Tree frame and a little gift bag from the Hobby Lobby. I'd gotten this recently in a haul. It was a 3-pack, and I think I ended up paying 80 cents for the 3 of them. But I'm gonna cut up this little bag and create just a little pretty sign for my tier tray. And I'm just cutting out the image. I'm using the side that does not have the crease in it. And I grabbed out my, what do you call this, paper cutter to try and get some straight lines. I realized later that I probably could have just cut it with the scissors and it would have been fine, but I am just being particular here and cutting down all of my edges to make it everything as even as possible. And once I have everything squared off, I'm going to be taking a look at it in the frame. This is like the easiest kind of sign that you can make because it's literally just cutting down something that already exists and popping it in the frame. So really, really super easy and cute. At first, I thought I was going to keep it taller with a lot more of that air, so to speak, at the top. But then I decided I really wanted the whole image more centered. I'm gonna go ahead and pop it into my frame and check out where it is. It actually from top to bottom was the perfect height, but as you can see, I have gaps on the sides there. So I started to grab the remnants of the bag and realized that the scraps I had already cut off were going to work just fine for what I needed. So, well, at least the one scrap. I'm going to cut another scrap here. I was just trying to find one that wasn't attached to the fold over of the bag there. So I'm just cutting out a piece that doesn't have creases in it, and I'm going to line that up. And I'm just going to be using some Scotch tape to put the whole thing together here, but I'm looking at the creases, not creases, but the lines where the paper is overlapping, and I'm thinking about maybe camouflaging that a little bit with ribbon. I was kind of on the fence with it. So I went ahead, taped this up. I'm still trying to think about what I'm gonna do to help it look like a cohesive piece and not like I just taped a couple of pieces of paper together. And you know, I think the pattern that I have there, it's kind of like a galvanized look, right? But I think the pattern actually is working in my favor. I realized that I had, just from the color variation, I had flipped the 2 pieces. So yeah, like I said, particular. So I moved them back and I was starting to look at it. I'm like, you know what? You can't really tell unless you get right up on it that it isn't one whole solid piece. Like I said, that pattern is kind of working in my favor. Had this been just a flat, solid color in the background for this, I think it would have been very noticeable, right? But I'm trying to see what it's going to look like with the ribbon. I decided I really didn't like it with the ribbon. I think I'm going to be able to get by with it just as it is. So I was having trouble with the glass. It was kind of flipping around inside of here. And so I decided I was going to anchor it down with a little bit of hot glue. So I'm kind of wedging it into the bottom part of the frame and then just running a quick bead of hot glue there just to get it so that it's not going to shift around because it does not fully fit inside this Dollar Tree frame. So I'm just trimming off some of the excess of the paper. I'm going to get it all lined up and I will tape it to the glass so that my image doesn't shift either. Of course, while I'm doing this, it shifts on me. So I'm going to have to fix it in just a second when I flip it back over because I'm looking at it. I'm like, all right, it's a little crooked. So I just very gently peeled up that tape and adjusted my image just a bit by looking at it from the front side, and then I'll secure down the tape just with my finger there while I'm making sure that it's lined up. Once I had one down, I was able to do the other. And then I can go ahead and put the back on it. I always keep that insert. I don't know why, but I keep the insert. I just flip it the other way so it's got the white side is showing towards the glass. I don't know, but that's it. Let me know what you think. So as I mentioned, today is the mini challenge. There is a whole playlist full of inspiration. The link is in my description box. I hope you'll go give them some love. And I am trying to decide if I'm going to continue this challenge in 2023. If you have enjoyed it and would like to see more, leave me a comment and please let me know. DIY number 2. All right, I have from the Dollar Tree this yarn and those little mini Christmas tree cone shape, whatever you want to call them. They are from the Hobby Lobby. I had gotten them 60% off, so it was a wonderful, wonderful sale that was going on. I got all kinds of deals. You guys, I'm like looking for the end of the yarn there. Usually they tuck it inside the center of the skein, but I couldn't find it. So I'm just working with the outside end, if you will. But I'm going to anchor it to the tippy top of my little cone. If you saw my recent video where I did the full-size versions of these, I did not use styrofoam cones. I made my own cones out of poster board. So if you don't have styrofoam on hand and you want to make some of these little mini trees, you can just use some cardstock or use a couple of pieces of paper to make it thick enough so that it holds up, and create your own little cone. And then you can just cover it with yarn. That is all this is, and it makes the sweetest little Christmas trees. I have the regular full-sized ones that I created a few weeks ago sitting on my little entertainment station in my family room, and I am absolutely in love with them. But I'm literally just holding my finger down. This goes really quickly, and I'm threading the yarn through my fingers there to just kind of hold it. I'm showing you here how I did that, and just turning the cone and turning it. Very, very simple and quick. Something you could probably even do with your kids or your grandkids if you have them. And then at the end, I am just securing it with some hot glue. I have my hot glue on the low setting so that I am less inclined to burn myself, and I'm being super careful here as well. So if you are working with kids, I recommend you handling the hot glue for them. But you could also use school glue if you have a little bit of patience to just make sure that the glue is holding before you let it go. But gonna go ahead and fill in the bottom of this as well. You don't have to fill in the entire bottom as long as you've got the edges covered so that when you set it down on your tray, you can't see the foam. You're good. I just, again, particular. So I like all my stuff nicely finished. So that is the first one. And then I did a whole bunch of others, different colors. Let me know what you think of these. DIY number 3. All right, more from Dollar Tree and the Hobby Lobby. These were also 60% off. They make me think of snowballs. They're just all little pom-poms, and the ones that I'd gotten from the Hobby Lobby were iridescent. I am just threading a large needle and I've doubled up the thread, and I'm putting a knot in the end of it. And I am going to thread my little pom-poms onto my needle. Or onto my thread. Thread them onto the thread? You know what I mean. But I am essentially just making a snowball garland for my tray. I'm using a couple of different sizes. I thought about using the bigger ones as well, but ultimately I decided, you know what? It's a little tiered tray. I don't think I need giant pom-poms for this. So I was gonna keep it nice and cute and sweet with just the smaller ones. And I alternated it with one larger pom-pom from that pack. So I would say it's a small to medium sized pom pom, and then a mini pom pom, two mini pom poms, excuse me. So one of the, I'll call it medium sized, and then two small. And I just continued to alternate it. Now, at first I was keeping them all spaced, as you saw, and ultimately I decided I wanted to move them together. So I kind of just spushed them closer to each other without completely crushing them together along that thread. And this is how it turned out. And once I got to the end, I clipped off the end, tied another knot. I did make sure I left about 6 inches of thread on either end, just in case I wanted to tie it to something. I just wanted to have that option. But let me know what you think of this one. I think it's super sweet. DIY number 4. All right, I've got another one of these little cones, and I've got glitter. Now, if you do not like glitter, this is not the project for you. I also have my gloss Mod Podge. I'm going to give my cone a thick coat, heavy coat, generous coat of my Mod Podge. I went to go grab a skewer so that I could hold my little cone here so that I don't get my fingers all gooped up, and so I don't, get the glitter all messed up once I have it applied here. Now, my original thought was that I would do a coat, add some of the chunkier glitter, and then add more Mod Podge, and then add a different kind of glitter and make it a little bit finer as I went. But after I poured this on here, you guys, I thought it looked so cool. I liked it just like that. And I decided I didn't want to put any other coats of glitter on it. So I just liked it. So I'm just checking to make sure I have it all filled in. Again, easiest project ever. This is definitely something that you could do with small children. Just want to make sure that they don't try to eat the glitter. But then I just took the excess and put it right back in the jar. Let me know what you think. And now it's time for a shout out timeout. Great, Sandy. She created something similar to what I made recently, and I love them. And nice, Kathy, super cute. And beautiful Rose. I love this little birdhouse. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing. If you have interest in having a shout out, I would love to give you one. Just send me an email at craftedbycorie@gmail.com. DIY number 5. All right, this is a mini wine bottle that I got in an advent calendar that my sister gave to me, and I've been thoroughly enjoying. And I thought, you know what, these bottles are so cute. I am going to be crafting with them. And this, if you haven't kind of picked up on my theme, this is my Winter Wonderland theme for this particular tier tray. And so I got the bottle all cleaned up. And I'm starting with my Adirondack white chalk paint with a little sponge. One of my subscribers recently shared with me that she uses a sponge to apply chalk paint to glass, because I always have a hard time getting my second coat to adhere to the chalk paint. For whatever reason, when I paint on glass, when I try to add another coat, it takes up the first coat. So my subscriber had suggested this method, and I'm loving it. So thank you so much for the tip. But I am now pouring out a little bit of this icy blue color. It is something I had created from crystal and then ocean. And then this is ocean that I'm adding on here. And I'm going to be using a little bit of each of these to start creating an ombre effect. So I've got the white, obviously, that I came up probably about a little more than a third of the way up the bottle, not quite halfway, especially if you include the neck. And now I'm kind of overlapping with my icy blue color. And then I will start adding in some of the darker ocean blue, and I'm just kind of mixing it together to get a next darker shade, right? So I'm just kind of upping it a little bit more as I go here. And this is paint, you guys. So if you get a little bit too much of one color, you can always go right back over it and just keep dabbing and blending. And I feel like the more you blend and dab, see, I'm coming back in here with some white, and then I'm like, oh, that's too much white. So I'll come back in with some more blue. But the more you dab, the more you layer, I think the better the effect. So be patient with yourself. It is not going to look perfect when you first start, but just keep working on it. And I think you're going to be amazed at what you can do with this. And I'm just going to continue working my way up with the darker colors, adding a little bit more of that ocean to the top. And I am in love with this, but let me know what you think of the finished product. DIY number 6. All right, I have one of, yeah, it just rolled away. I don't know what that's called. It always makes me think of the Beauty and the Beast rose, and I don't know what it's called, but it's from the Dollar Tree. I also have that pick from the Dollar Tree. I think it's just called a winter branch or something like that. And then I have some fairy lights that I've had in my stash for a while that my sister had given to me. So I got my little dome. I don't know what it's called, ready. And I was so excited that my fairy lights fit right through the little hole in the bottom of this. So I'm going to be able to leave the on-off switch on the outside, tucked underneath, out of the way, and I'll be able to turn it on and off super easily. So excited. It's the little things in life that make me happy. I'm just using some double-sided foam tape on the back of this. It occurred to me afterwards I probably should have used Velcro so that I can get it off easily later when I need to change the battery, but that is a problem for another day. So right now I've got it anchored up inside of there, and I'm just taping down some of that excess wire that can't pull through the hole, but I got all the lights in there, so very excited about that. Now I'm going to cut apart my little pick here, and I am going to be creating my own little icy tree. So I'm going to try and figure out how tall this first piece can be. This is going to be my trunk for my little tree, and I am just going to trim it down so it can go down inside that same hole that the wire came up through, because there's plenty of room there for the pick itself. So it's going to hold my little tree up. I've got my lights coming up from it. Perfect. Now I'm just going to cut little tiny branches, making sure that they are the right size for creating the branches on my tree. So just again, a little bit of patience, using a little bit of hot glue. My hot glue gun wasn't hot yet. But again, I have this on the low setting. So that's going to do a few things for me. It's going to help me not burn myself, because y'all know I'm kind of bad about wearing my finger protectors, but it's also going to allow the glue to cool faster because it won't be as hot. So I don't have to hold on to things quite as long, because they will firm up faster. So I like that. But just getting myself ready, checking, is the hot glue ready? Yes, it is. So I put a little bit of a dab on there. Actually, maybe it wasn't. Let's try this again. So a little bit of a dab on there, and then I'm holding it up to the trunk of the tree where I'd like for it to live. And I'm just going to continue to do that all around the tree, just holding it in place until it's secure enough for me to let go. And I didn't know how it was going to work with the hot glue, if the hot glue was going to make a big mess or be super visible. Because of all of the sparkle on this little branch pick, you couldn't even tell that there was hot glue in there. There was just so much going on with the sparkle. It was completely camouflaged. So definitely recommend. And once I had it the way that I wanted it, I'm going to use my little lights to decorate my tree. So bringing them up and around, I'm using the wire to my advantage to form it and get it to go where I want it. So again, you want to just be a little bit patient with yourself. I found that I had to kind of over bend the wire, just overcompensate a little bit for it to have it ultimately land where I wanted it to be. So patience is definitely helpful and was really happy with the way that this turned out in the end. So I'm just wrapping it around the different branches the same way you would decorate a tree out in your yard, right? If you think about catching the ends of all of the little limbs and working your way from the bottom up to the top, or perhaps at home you would do it from the top down to the bottom because then you've got to plug it in somewhere. But because mine started at the bottom, I started from the bottom and worked my way up. Now I'm just making sure that my dome is going to fit over all the branches. Here you go. You can see it all lit up. And now I'm going to grab this remnant from a Dollar Tree dust mop, and I'm going to cut out one corner of this because I want to have a little blanket. In my mind, it was snow. It doesn't quite look like snow when I get it in there, but it's very fluffy. But I am cutting out a corner. I'm just trying to find the area where I can cut to have the least amount of fraying here. So I'm just pulling off all of the little loose, I'm going to say flakes. Strands, all of the loose strands. I did notch a little slit in it so that I could wrap that around my little tree trunk, and I'm tucking it down inside around here, trying to get all those little strands in there as I close up the dome again. And that is it. I think this is so sweet, but let me know what you think. And here we are with the final reveal. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. I hope that you enjoyed the project. If you did, be sure to give me a big thumbs up, leave me a comment, let me know which one was your favorite, and remember there is an entire playlist full of inspiration, so I hope that you'll go and check that out and give everybody lots of love. And until the next time, be well, be kind, and make it a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and happy holidays. Take good care. Bye.